Hi guys, I'm Melina McDonald from Intimacy TV. We were all about raw conversation and real education tonight. Thank you for being patient. I've had a really busy day. Jane and I have been together and I'm ready to talk about the second kind of guy that we date, called Mr. Unavailable. So I'm the author of Win the Dating Game, and in here I talk about the 10 different kinds of guys that we date. Now, Mr. Unavailable, Mr. Passionate was number 1, Mr. Unavailable is number 2. So I'm going to quickly give you an idea about who that is and what it is, because I think it is one of the men that we get really confused about and we're really not too sure. And I think we get them mixed up with Mr. High IQ, Low EQ, which is emotional intelligence. However, that's not the case. They are quite different. So there are quite a few reasons why a guy would be Mr. Unavailable. So I'm going to cover a few of them very quickly. The thing that I put in here, or my quote is, he's low on the love connection meter, but he's simply uncomplicated, and that is Mr. Unavailable. Sometimes we think because somebody is single that they don't actually want to be in a relationship, and that's completely incorrect, and that's not necessarily the reason why they are unavailable. Or in fact, a lot of single people, you actually might choose to be single. However, when you're unavailable comes, we're more talking about the emotional side, okay? So they may still see people, however, they can't emotionally really commit in a relationship that you want. And unfortunately with a lot of women, and I'll go through some of the kinds of reasons why guys are unavailable, but a lot of women think that this is a challenge and that they're going to fix them or change them. And I'm going to tell you very quickly, this is not possible to do. So if you've got one of these people in your life, you need to just, and you think you can fix or change them, you need to walk away now. So firstly is a guy could be unavailable because of his childhood. So that's the connection between himself and, say, his mum. It could be something that's been, got quite traumatized in his younger years. So that's something that could definitely happen. He could have also been, on another side, he may be unavailable because he was manipulated in love. So what does that mean? Well, it could be, for example, that he started dating somebody and he got an STI and it completely freaked him out, and he didn't understand that that's actually 1 in every 3 people get an STI, so hello. However, he's just not emotionally at that level to understand, there's nothing wrong with him or nothing wrong with the person, but he feels that he was manipulated by and ended up in this situation. Another one could be he was manipulated and because someone that he saw got pregnant, and that they were using the pregnancy to keep him in a relationship, or fake pregnancy, which has happened many times. And I've heard many stories of that, where a girl thinks she's going to lose the guy and she says that she's magically pregnant. Turns out she never is, but that's being manipulated in love. Sometimes they're unavailable because they are still in love with their ex. And that happens. So while their heart is still there with their ex, they're not able to give their heart to you. So you need to understand that that's something that definitely can happen there. Could be that they're secretly in love with their best friends. Oh my God, the amount of times I have seen that happen, especially with guys that believe that, oh, my girl, my best, opposite sex friend, or my female friend, she's always going for the bad boy and I'm a really nice guy. And, one day she'll come around and she knows that I'm always going to be there for her, and she'll come around, eventually we'll be together. So he's actually secretly in love with her and he's never really told her, or, she knows and it's never going to happen anyway. So that's another one. Another one that could happen is the guy has been denied his what we call caveman time or boy time. This is huge. This is a massive one that does tend to happen where it's a lot of trust issues that actually happen within a relationship. The man is wanting to have his time out or his boy time, and unfortunately the partner he's with doesn't really allow it to happen. The restrictions are very minimal, and the more that you try and take away the time that they can hang out with their friends, I'm not saying they should be doing it every day, but if they've been in a relationship where that's been taken out of the picture and it's always nagging and it's always a lot of insecurities and there's no trust there, and that time was taken away, every time he gets into a relationship, he's automatically going to feel that this is going to happen again. And if you do anything at all, a whiff of actually taking that away, and that has been a problem in the past, he's probably going to bolt or he's going to emotionally shut down. The last one there is the porn viewer. Now, with this one, just to give you a very quick understanding, because I did a whole week on porn. When a guy is an excessive porn user, and when I say that, look, let's be realistic. Most men watch porn at least 3 times a week. But when you've been watching porn every single day for a very long period of time, so I'm talking years here, what happens is that the brain of the guy actually gets restructured. So you've got the pleasure center in the brain, and what happens is normally they will see something or experience something. The pleasure center will send a signal down the spinal cord straight into the penile area. What happens is that when they watch a lot of porn, it rewires the brain. So when they're in front of you and they're in front of a real human and they go, I'm actually attracted to her, what happens, unfortunately, is when they are an excessive porn viewer, so guys, I hope you're listening, what happens is that when they're with a real woman, they never get rock hard. So ladies, you can actually tell how much porn a guy watches when you're with them, because if they're watching it quite a lot, it takes a lot to get them hard and keep them hard. Or I'm going to say they only ever get 3/4 hard. They never get that rock solid hard. It's always 3/4, half to 3/4. So the more that they watch, the more when they're with you that's happening. Now, unfortunately for a lot of women, they take that personally and they think that they're not beautiful enough or they're not enough, which is why women dress a lot more promiscuously today than they ever have, because they think that they need to flash more of their bits to get the attention of the man. He is actually interested in you. Otherwise, he wouldn't go home with you. But the reality is that because he watches so much porn, unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of control between the brain and what's happening and the message going to the penis. So it's not you. And that also comes down to being Mr. Unavailable. And he's unavailable because when he's in front of porn, you have to understand that it's like taking a line of cocaine. So when you go on high-speed internet porn, this is quite different to a magazine or the old, back in the old days, the DVDs where we're bow chicky bow bow and we've got to go through a story to get to the money shot. Now they can just fast forward to the money shot. Every time a guy goes to the money shot, and he's snorted up a line of cocaine. Now, if you know anything about drugs, you'll know that when you do a lot of drugs or you're doing it repetitively for a long time, eventually you've got to up the ante. So instead of 1 line of coke, you're going to do 2. Right? And it's going to keep going. You're going to keep... So in other words, when they're watching porn, they're going to watch more extreme porn or more hardcore. And so what happens is that when they're in front of the porn, the brain signals are working better. But when they're in front of you, unfortunately, the messages aren't quite going there. So it's a complete rewiring. So they're the main ones that make a guy Mr. Unavailable. So as we said, it could be their childhood and the way they've been brought up. It could be they've been traumatized as a child. It could be the relationship between them and their mum. They could have been manipulated in love. They could still be in love with their ex. They could be in love with their best friend and never saying anything, so they're secretly in love. They could have been refused their caveman or boy time, or they're a porn viewer. Now, most of these Mr. Unavailable men, they are very successful in their careers. And what I did find is that these guys, when you are seeing them, and they look, I'll be honest, if you're a career person, you don't have a lot of time to date per se, they're great guys to actually see. If you're both on the same, the brain wave here, if you're both happy to, just have a relationship where you can be, and that's what I discovered, is that you just hang out a lot. You may just, think of it like Netflix and chill. They're great guys to actually do that with. You might, have the odd conversation. And, you might play, you might, just snuggle and jump into bed and snuggle and go to sleep. So they're really, really good if that's a level of relationship that you're actually looking for. And being quite busy myself, when I was seeing my Mr. Unavailables, and I've had a few of them, that's pretty much the relationship we had. We're like two old people that just hung out together and we would just be. And in a way, it was quite refreshing at that time, and that's what I needed. So what you will find with these guys, though, is that when they do feel that they're going to lose you, they open up a little bit, and just to make sure that they're keeping you in, because they never tend to open up and be that emotional being and talk about feelings. They're quite detached from that. So they will try and, it's like, just give you a little bit just to keep you there. However, they are amazing guys. What are they like in the bedroom? Well, look, they're selfless, silent lovers. The intimacy is actually quite nice. It's really good. However, as I said, it's only on a particular level. So, but the good thing is they're selfless, silent lovers. So I quite like that. They also, now what have I put in here? Because there is, in the book, we actually go a lot deeper into this particular personality type. Their perfect partner, it must have minimal conversation. That's a reality, okay, guys? They're not someone that you're going to go severely deep with. You will come across your guy that is happy to have, big conversations, talk about lots of things, but you're not going to go the D&Ms. You're not going to get deep and meaningful on anything that's emotional. You'll tend to steer away from stuff like that. So if they're going to have a conversation, you'll find that it will be about everything but them. However, keep them, the conversation minimal. That's exactly, what they prefer. How do they like to be dumped? It's very simple. Disappear. I literally had someone do it once, it's literally like, just do that. They don't need conversation. They don't need to be told why. You just disappear. They're perfectly happy with that. You'll never hear from them again. It's, it's really, really simple and easy. So that is guy number 2 in the 10 kinds of guys that we date, which is in the Win the Dating Game book. Make sure that you jump onto intimacy.com.au and have a look at what we've got there. You can also grab the book on there or go into winthedatinggame.com.au if you want to download your copy. We've got our latest magazine that is out tomorrow. I am going to talk about the number 3 guy that we date, and that one is Mr. Nostalgia. I was married to one of these ones. It's not my favorite, I can tell you right now. That's called In Hindsight. It's not my favorite. So as I said, this is Win the Dating Game. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the 3rd kind of guy that we date, which is Mr. Nostalgia. We've done Mr. Passionate, we've done Mr. Unavailable. If you've missed them, make sure that you go back on the feed and you have a look at that. Until our episode tomorrow, it's bye from me. Bye bye.